You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast.
You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. My name is Sean Wilkie, and along with my awesome co host, we interview the innovators in this industry every week. Ivan, can you please introduce today's guest?
Hey, I'm Ivan Zach. I am excited to introduce our guest, Brendan Baker. Brendan is a founder and CEO of PawthosX. Did I say it right?
PawthosX.
Okay, I'm a foreigner, so I do mistakes. So I'll take that excuse. So Pathos X is a new product where Brendan develops the next generation operational infrastructure for veterinary medicine. Drawing from experience in human emergency service, logistics, and veterinary hospital leadership, he saw how fragmented systems cause friction, burnout, and inefficiency for clinical teams. A frustrating PIMS transition inspired him to design systems that reduce cognitive load and coordinate real time workflows. Brandon believes the future of veterinary technology isn't more tools, but orchestration systems that bring clarity instead of complexity and let teams focus on what actually matters patient care. Brandon, welcome to the show. Thank you for finding the time.
Thank you for having me.
So, right off the bat, I want to ask I am not familiar with the term operational infrastructure for veterinary medicine. Is there similarities in our industry? Is it the practice management system esque software? What is it? What does it do? And why is it awesome?
Yeah, so basically what we're looking to do is at a really terrible time moving PIMS, as we discussed, right? And when I realized that they were older than I am, it was time for new generation of systems, right? So what we do is we don't create just what would be a traditional PIMS. We focus more on the infrastructure behind it. So having the rails to be able to do everything from payments to your medical records to your scribing and things and bringing people into the ecosystem. So the goal for us is to be more of a operating system where you can bring in items like auto that you like or connect those other ones like Talkatoo, for example, and we control more of the UI and user experience. So our goal is to really unite tools. And neither of those are an endorsement, by the way, of where we are with anything. But the point is to bring in tools, make it easier for teams to use the tools they enjoy without losing everything, and just make it simple and calm. There's nothing worse than the complexity of the systems currently in the field.
And Brennan, we'll take the plug, even though it wasn't an endorsement for Talkatoo. Thanks for that. A bunch of questions, probably have 1,000 questions for you, but we'll start with one. The first question is, this is a bold vision, a vision of a connected veterinary hospital that's not limited by API agreements and financial arrangements and other complexity. This is a new concept for veterinary medicine. What challenges do you see ahead?
Yeah, so the challenges specifically that I do see ahead are the fact that it is a new concept, right? A lot of the prospects and people that I meet with go, we've never seen something like this before in vet med. Well, that's on purpose, right? All the other systems are super complex. And when you log into something that doesn't look like a BIMS, you're like, can this actually do it? And really, it's more inspiration from, I would say, from the Apple world, right? Where things are just simple, easy, there's plenty of space visually, all of those things. So really getting across the board that, hey, this is a different way of doing it. It's not the same, right? It's a more modern view of it. And I think that's a huge challenge. From the financial aspect, the biggest challenge for us truly is just figuring out we do localization, right? So when we enter the Canadian market, there's going to be Quebec localization. When we enter the UK, we're localizing currently for them. Down in Mexico and Puerto Rico, we're doing the same for them as well with Spanish. So the currency aspect, the taxes, the just complexity of regulation is probably honestly our biggest thing because we want to make that easy for people. We don't want them to have to worry about things like 10DLC compliance or other tax compliances. We want to make it simple.
So, if you can help me understand a little more, I love the concept, and I've been for the last 3 weeks. We were on podcast with Sebastian and Sean, and Sebastian said to use Claude, and I was like, should I use Claude? And then I haven't slept since. So it almost feels like because I've built now 12 agent departments company essentially internally where every agent is responsible for every function, and it's more possible than ever to do that And I can totally see the vision, because you can use now and you can pipe things that don't even have the direct API and connection and everything else to things without knowing code. And what's interesting in what you are describing, it feels like there still needs to be a user interface for the centralized piece, like the medical record piece, because that's not pluggable. I mean, payment processing, inventory management, labor cost management, scheduling, like I can see all of those pieces now being kind of put together and then use competitive, whether you want Talkative, whether you want, someone else. There's no someone else. There's only Talkative. Here's the second one for you, Sean, today. But then you can pick and choose in other categories and plug in whoever you want. What is that central piece? Do you still have to have a UI for like actual like entry and medical part of it?
Yes, and we do. And what we do is a little bit different from the standpoint of how the doctors and the teams interact with it. So we have everything from scheduling, everything you would expect in your traditional PIMS, except reporting, which we did a different way, where you literally talk to an AI and it builds the report for you instead of 20 dropdowns. So there's a couple different changes that we have made to make it easier. However, for like our EMR, which is our medical records part, DVMs can see all the relevant history to that case, see the long-term care as well. Then they can start that visit. And once they start that visit, there's the exams that their team can do. It's fully transcribed. They can pause and start. RVTs can start it if they wanted to and talk through it. Pause it, doctor, and the AI basically will translate that into a SOAP and into a discharge record that clients can understand. One of the biggest challenges for me as a hospital manager when I was at specifically urgent care hospitals inspired the discharge, and GP doctors told me that they want to offer a discharge too. So we offer all of those functionalities. The main thing that we do, truthfully, is the orchestration of those agents. We have, I believe we're up to 45 unique agents that are really good at one thing. And then we basically have a AI practice manager that makes sure they all do the right thing, right? So with that and having all of the open APIs and the events coming back through our bus, we make sure that everything gets where it's supposed to be within the system instead of people directly writing back to the database.
All of that sounds amazing and very technical. Let's take a step back and appreciate the audience that we have, a bunch of veterinarians that are always looking for innovative products and solving a problem. What would you say the main pain point you're looking to solve with your new practice management system, platform? And maybe help me understand, are we calling it a platform? Is it a practice management system? I think it's just really helpful for people to know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, we use the phrase AI native operating system, veterinary operating system. Basically, seems where a lot of the people are going. So we do all the functionalities of a PMS or PIMS. What our goal is truly is calm. And what that means is that you shouldn't have to fight with your system to treat patients, to provide education to those clients, to be able to do best care for that pet, right? So if things are simple, easy, smooth, less than 3 clicks is a huge thing for us that we're trying to accomplish. I think that by making the interface automated, all of the admin stuff, you can really focus on those pets and that care. And I think that providing client education is way simpler. I think there's a major disconnect between, honestly, client expectations and doctors and their teams.
It's crazy. You're talking to two, I don't know what we are, Ivan, fools, maybe. We could call ourselves veterinary software veterans. Like we build teams and software, and it's really hard. And the thing that you said there is something that I think every software founder across every industry always tries to do, which is create simplicity. And then you get users. And then you get 100 users, then you get 1,000 users, then you get 5,000 users, and everybody wants you to do something slightly different. And I wonder how you think about that challenge, because I think that is every one of your competitors' challenge. And because now you have customers as well, your challenge. So how do you think about that? How do you get to be Apple and keep your users happy?
The main point is is really being modular and being able to input things those ways, right? So by controlling the user interface and only the user interface, the consistency across every environment needs to be the same. Whether that partner plugs in, right? Because I think one of the biggest things right now is that once a partner plugs in, you have their UI on top of your UI and on top of all these other things too. So being modular allows us to input systems without changing the front end. which is really great for clients too. I think that being able to take that feedback, take it to heart, try to figure out a good solution to it. Like, for example, somebody prospects said to me, we need AHA charts of accounts. And I said, you know what? We already do business P&Ls and things like that. I never really thought about the charts of accounts, right? So we talked to them a little bit more in depth and pulled it in. And those are important things for some practices. It truly is about keeping the funnel live and always being willing to listen to feedback. And that's something that we pride ourselves on being able to. I think for one of our founding clinic partners, we put in 22 suggestions of theirs and we pushed them within a week. So yeah, we try to be responsive to clinics and what their needs are.
I wanted to put like a little disclaimer that I just discovered in the last 3 weeks to maybe orient some people, because our audience are veterinarians, and I do consider myself a bit of a software enthusiast with Sean, that we kind of look at the newer technologies. What I didn't realize, there's like 3 use cases of AI today. It's just like with marketing, veterinarians, whenever you say do marketing 5, 10 years ago, and they're like, yeah, we send reminders. It's like, well, that's not marketing. That's just reminders. Like, there's way more about marketing. And the same thing right now with AI. Right now, when you say AI, most people will think about Scribe. Like that is kind of like the most represented use case of. And what you're talking is what I mentioned, the agentic structure, which I just learned in the last couple of weeks, understanding that you can use your chat GPT for your medical records or writing emails and whatever it is. That's like level 1 entry point. That's what I've been doing 3 weeks ago. The next level is that you can have a repeatable task that you can actually give to a particular AI agent, and there's a skill developed inside that will repeatedly do the same thing. And the next level is what you are talking about. It's this agentic structure where there's multiple jobs that different AI agents are doing, and they're all orchestrated at the center. So you've built an orchestrator that essentially helps these multiple AI agents to work with it. But to build an AI agent, as complex as it sounds today, is enough to talk to Claude or whatever application and build and connect to it without knowing anything about the development. So I totally believe your 22 features push, because I think of one thing today in quarterly planning. I just had 2 quarterly planning meetings with my teams in different clinics. And by the end of the day, I'm going to implement their entire quarterly rock. I'm going to push it back to them and say it's done. And this is where we live today. And I really admire the way the approach you're taking, because the big question that we have about many softwares today is that, are they going to be outpaced but by the progression of the infrastructure it's built on? So starting from Scribe, starting from Schedule, starting from whatever, the large language models are developing so fast that they're outpacing the softwares that we're building. And what you're building seems like it's going to stay at least on the forefront of it, because you are using agentic structure that these agents can be added and removed at any point. So anyway, I just wanted to give that talk track because I was amazed in the last 3 weeks.
And that's exactly it, right? So we basically give choice to anyone. They can use their OpenAI agents, they can use Claude, they can use Gemini. Soon they'll be able to use Perplexity, as well as local models that we have. So one of the interesting, cool things that we do too is we're actually cloud hybrid. We actually put local nodes in the hospitals that help with things like X-ray images, that help with privacy-based AI forward stuff, where the actual node will process things and then send it to the cloud. So we have endless opportunity with agents and really in these orchestration, because it's really easy to put in one more agent that does that thing, because they all access the same. As long as that manager holds on to it, you can really change, honestly, a lot of things, especially in an event-based system like ours.
So the question that I have though on that is that I love tinkering with technology and understanding how it works. I also have put software in more than 500 hospitals and struggled through what your struggle was together with those hospital operators and seeing how difficult it is. Where do you think our main customer base stands as of today in understanding what you do? Because that, I think, might be we're going there, you're going where the puck is going right now, but is the whole team, skating towards that with you, or are we going to lose people along the way?
I think that's twofold. I think that we are definitely marketing ahead of where the market is in a lot of ways. I do believe that this is where everything will be going, from a records-based system to an events-based system across software as a whole. The moats are really going to be orchestration and user experience. And everything else is going to be whatever happens with it, right? Whatever clients and clinics want to use. Our focus is trying to make it simple, right? We don't actually call artificial AI, has people get all, ornery about it. We actually call it artificial presence. And it's really AI that's there if you want it, AI that doesn't need to be there. So we're introducing new concepts, and sometimes that's difficult too. But we are definitely ahead, in my mind, of where the market is language wise, and trying to bring that awareness back around.
Yeah, I think that's always a challenge, right? It's like articulating the problem that you solve in a way that the people you want to solve it for understand. And man, oh man, like, because I think as entrepreneurs, we operate like I don't want to say at a higher level, because sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a different level. But we're operating in this world that we're very, very close to, that we can get very excited about, and we can see the reality, the tomorrow for our customers. But then, being able to articulate that is always a challenge. And I guess my next question for you is, in this agentic reality that we're moving towards, and a lot of us, all three of us, are living, and we're building agents and we're using them. Can you give a couple of really simple use cases for agentic AI in your operating system that our customers can understand and get excited about?
Yeah, one of the ones that we're most excited about is what we call the persona engine, right? So basically, what that agent does is learns what that user likes to see, wants focused, wants surfaced, and then it will start to change what that person necessarily sees in what order, right? So if a doctor likes seeing imaging before lab results, that agent will learn and swap it for you, right? So it learns personas, as we call it, so technicians, all the things, and it's user based. The other really neat thing that we can use agentic for is truly, honestly, understanding where your team is to prevent overworking and burnout, right? So my challenge as a manager was, truthfully, teams didn't tell me what was going on. Even though I had my pulse down to the ground, they still didn't want to open their mouth and tell me what was going on. So being able to pull signals out of the environment, process them locally, and make them anonymous and send them up gives a practice manager or a DVM really good insight onto, hey, is your team stressed? Are they overworked? Where are their pain points? So there's some really cool use cases that we can do. And simple, really simple ones is honestly reminders. Everybody dreads reminders. The agents take care of reminders, and you don't have to worry about it. So there's some really cool things you can do and some really basic things you can do.
That's really awesome. And you got a strong lead through this podcast. I want to see what it looks like. So
that's one of our big differencing points. You can actually go to our site and actually try it for yourself. You can just sign up and play with it.
All right. So what is it? Tell us what the website is.
It's PawthosX.vet, or even easier, you can go to VOS.vet/trial, sign up, and you can play with it yourself.
All right. Perfect. Well, Brendan, thank you so much. This looks and sounds very forward thinking. We ask two questions at the end of every podcast. Is there a book, TED Talk, video on YouTube, or anything that recently inspired you and you would like to share?
Yeah, so it's not a business book. It's Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. So one of the things that struck me about Green Lights is it reframed all of your problems into signal. And it was simple red, green, yellow, right? And it made me basically reprocess how I look at signal and how I look at red. So how do I look at something that stops me and how do I move around it, right? And get that green light. So it's a really great, from that perspective, and it really reframes how you think about problems and specifically life. At least for me, it did.
That's amazing. And the last question we have for you is another innovator that you think we should have on the show.
Yeah, I actually recommend Adam Wasaki of VetSource Software Hub. And the reason why I do is I think that he's doing strong work over there to really bring clarity and honesty to comparisons of systems for vet teams. I think that that's something that's been was a pain for me as a practice manager, was trying to see, okay, where are all the options? What are everything out there? How can I compare them? And him, along with other people, are doing great industry reporting, and they're just really honestly killing it with what they're bringing to the table for clarity.
Thank you so much for listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. If you want to hear about our new episodes, please follow us on any social media channel. Also, you can check out our website at veterinaryinnovationpodcast.com. See you next week.